Hello, welcome to Mav is Real, our YouTube channel. So today we are going to look at solving quadratic function when we are missing the part of the quadratic function, either bx or the c. So remember, the standard of a quadratic function is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Sometimes you might be missing this piece or this piece. We can never miss the s squared, because when we miss the s squared, then it's no more quadratic equation, because it's quadratic equation because of the x squared. Okay, so let's look at x squared minus 4x equals to 0. So if we have been asked to solve this, we see that we are missing the constant. But if that helps you to solve, you can always insert it back in there. Okay, so if you look into your pocket and there is no money in there, that means you have 0 money. So here, if there is no c, that means we have 0. So we can able to insert the c part of it, and let's go ahead and do that. So we can rewrite it as x squared minus 4x plus 0 equals to 0. And if you still remember my previous solving by factoring, remember we are going to use the crisscross method, whereby you put your constant here. Now the constant here is 0, and we are looking for two numbers that we are going to multiply. That is going to give us 0, and when we add, we're supposed to get the -4. So here, any number multiplied by 0 is 0. So since we are looking for that -4, we can say, oh, -4 and 0. And remember, when you multiply -4 by 0, you get 0. And when you add -4 plus 0, you get -4. So you see here, it helps satisfy the equation easily. Okay. So here you set all of them equals to 0. Remember, this is the fact x. Okay, and when we solve it, so x minus 4 equals to 0, you want to isolate the x. So that means you're adding 4 here and you're adding 4 here. So that help you to get this become 0. So x, and here 0 plus 4 become 4. Okay. Or the second part of it, x plus 0 equals to 0. Remember, this is just 0, so there's nothing. So this means x is equals to 0. Okay. So that means the two numbers that will satisfy this quadratic function is what? 0 and 4. And these two numbers are the what? The solution. Yeah, the solution. Okay. All right. So that's how you can able to insert the c part and solve it. If you don't want to insert the c part to solve it, let's see how we can go about that one too. Okay, so we are using the factoring method, so we can look at this and look at the common number or the common variable. So here we see that there's x here, which is x times x minus 4 times x equals to 0. So if we look at the left hand side here, we see that there's x here, so we can take one of them out. Since it's 2, we took one out, one is left. Here it was 4, and x, we have taken the x out, so what is left is 4, and then is equals to 0. Okay, so here 2 numbers multiply to give you 0, so it could be that x is equals to 0 or x minus 4 equals to 0, which here implies that x is equals to 4. So that is also another way, in case you don't want to insert the C part of it to get your 4. Okay, now let's look at another example. So x squared minus 9 equals to 0. So here we realize that we have the first part and the C part, but we don't have the bx part. So we can also insert that one. We can insert 0 for that. So let's go ahead and do that. So x squared plus 0 x here, and then minus 9 equals to 0. So as we always do, we split our x times x give us x squared. We are looking for the 2 factors that we don't know. So here we are using our crisscross method. We put our c, which is -9, and then when we multiply, we're supposed to get -9. When we add, we're supposed to get 0. So what are 2 numbers you multiply? Now you get -9, and you add, you get 0. You know that it's supposed to be coming from 3. But remember, here it's supposed to be -9, so one of them have to be negative. So negative, and when we add this, we get 0. So it works perfectly. So these are the 2 factors. We put -3 here and plus 3 here equals to 0. And once again, this is the factor form, or the factors, and the solution will be the flip of this. It will be the switch or the opposite of these numbers, because after we have solved it, now we know the procedure. So it's going to be x is equals to 3 and x is equals to -3. So that's how you can able to insert that part of it. Let's look at another part of it without inserting. Let's see if we can able to solve that. So if you are not going to insert it, the BS part of it, then what we have to do, the easiest way, we are going to take this to the other side here. So we are adding 9 and we are adding 9. Okay, and then get this, and then we get 9 here. Okay, now we want to solve for x, but we have x squared. But remember, I told you that anytime you want to undo, you want to get rid of a squared, you take a square root. So you do the same thing here, and whatever you do in the right hand side, you have to do the same thing on the left hand side. You do the same thing here. Okay. And remember from my previous video, I said quadratic, when you solve, you're looking for 2 answers. So here, when square root of x squared give us x here, but since we are looking for 2 numbers we don't know, so we put plus or minus as we take square root here, and this give us that. And when we do that, then we realize that, oh, when we split it, you get one of it, the positive side, and then you consider the negative side, you get -3, and that solve it. So we get the same answer from as we use the previous method. I hope it helps.